So I don't know who this scrap goblin is, but apparently they're going to be rocking a Farseer here. On this very glitchy Durillo's Forge. Going to be playing against the Boogeyman, who is quite the veteran player, but I don't know how long it's been since he's been playing, so have no expectations, guys, because remember, for the Codex Astartes teaches us that hope only leads to disappointment. So we'll have no hope. We'll see how the Boogeyman can fare here. Lord General pretty good against Eldar, Farseer pretty good against IG. I feel like I cast a LG versus Farseer not so long ago. Kind of went through the dynamics of that matchup a bit more at the start of that cast, but in particular on this map, the LG can be quite handy because of these garrisons here. You can use them. So we'll see if we can get any value out of them before all the grenades come online. I'm not sure if Scrap Goblin knew that he was going to be facing the Lord General. If he did, maybe that explains the Howling Banshees. Typically you wouldn't go Howling Banshees against the Lord Commissar or the Inquisitor. But yeah, against the Lord General I guess you can. I mean, you can do it anyway against IG. Maybe on a map like this they could be alright with lots of shot blockers and stuff. You just always send them down the side of the map where the Sentinel isn't, because obviously these ladies are very vulnerable in the early game to a Sentinel. Sentinel's going hunting right now. He's got his Stomp available. Probably just going to find himself satisfied with dealing with the Farseer. Yeah, he sees the Banshees doing their little bit of bashing, but they've got that range damage resistance now that they're in melee with the power node, so they're not going to take too much damage. Here comes the Sergeant and the Guardsman here, and a couple of extra Guardsmen to help contribute some DPS. You would think they'd get a model soon, before the power node is destroyed. Wow, were they really going to get out without losing a model? That is exceptionally lucky there for Scrap Goblin. And that is the power of the ranged damage resistance. And also some good luck. Nice play there with the Farseer, hugging the wall here to not take too much damage as she encloses on the Lord General, gets a beautiful special attack to initiate, and here we go, the Sergeant just died instantly on the Lord General. Oh, the Lord General, man. I don't know, I've really been hating this hero recently. Playing a hero that bleeds, it just feels bad. At least you don't have to pay as much when you rebuy him. Still, man, he just bled 42 Rex, 7 power. Holy shit, that's so expensive. And now it's going to delay his tier 1.5 tremendously. And in contrast, Scrap Goblin's coming out with the Shuriken Cannon. Very defensively positioned at the moment. I don't dislike that play. We know that there's a Sentinel on the field which has the Stomp available. The Shuriken is caught out of position. And of course, all the rest of Scrap Goblin's army has been forced off at this point, so isn't going to be able to support that Shuriken. If you've got your double Guardians nearby, the Sentinel Stomp isn't too threatening, because you know you can output a lot of DPS and then potentially kill it as it tries to flee after having done its little Stomp. But if your Shuriken's isolated, then that's not going to happen, is it? So yeah, we do have the double Guardsman here with their Sergeant. So this is the other thing, Boogeyman's got the double Guardsman with the Sergeant. He also went for the Sentinel after the first Guardsman, which is a bit of a mistake because it means you end up paying more upkeep, as you cross the 30 pop threshold with the Sentinel rather than the Guardsman, and so pay the pop on the Sentinel rather than the Guardsman, and the Sentinel has a lot more pop. Now this is the advantage of the Lord General in the matchup. He can trade very cost effectively against the Guardians. Needs to be careful right now that he doesn't get a retreat grenade in his face, but he's still relatively tanky with his Sergeant, so he's just going to force melee here onto the Guardians. But it feels a little bit in vain. He's just going to lose his Sergeant again, because there's no follow-up. If he had like Kadashin shooting in here, or the Sentinel was present, then that might have felt a bit more worthwhile, as the Guardsmen are running around tying up this Shuriken. That was not a very good stomp, only hitting the Farseer. And now nothing is able to tie up the Shuriken, which is going to be able to set up, and the Kadashins can't really do anything because they use their old reliable already. Yeah, they just got to get out of there. Well, it was a skirmish that went in favour of the Eldar, I would say. But we're getting a lot of upgrades here on the Eldar. No aspect on the Banshees, no upgrades on the Farseer herself. But we've only got 1 gen here for the IG, only getting their power node now, and 3 gens for the Eldar. But a big mistake by Scrap Goblin. Oh no, his fucking game froze. Wow. Okay, that was unlucky. He had a little bit of a lag spike there and lost 4 Howling Banshees. I was about to say, he's kind of throwing now, just unnecessarily dropping models. Poor fella had his game freeze. But very fortunate he didn't lose a squad there. That would have felt bad. That would have felt bad, because he's been playing it well so far. A pretty light tier 1 for fighting IG, I'll be honest. Typically you see at least 2 shurikens. So yeah, he's going to be going to tier 2 pretty fast, but be interesting to see what he goes for in tier 2. If you can kill the Sentinel, then a Falcon would be legit. You'd have to get Rangers afterwards to help mitigate any Melter Stormtroopers. He could just rush a Shuriken Cannon Wraith Lord, or I don't know, he might just go straight into Spiders or something. I'm not sure. It feels like fast-teching against the IG isn't really very effective. So traditionally, you know, you'd go Wraithguard against IG, but to fast-tech Wraithguard is... well, that's just not very good. They're such a slow unit, they still get countered by the Lord General and such. You know, it doesn't apply the pressure that something like a Falcon or a Warp Spider squad would. Oh, another Miss Micro. Dropping the Guardians, drops 4 models there. This is nice for Boogy. It's going to be feeding him a good amount of XP, and he really wants the XP on the Cadishans and the Lord General, and he got a nice play here as well, flanking with a Sentinel. A beautiful stomp there. The lead model is die last and knocked him out of cover to be shot by all these lasguns, so that is going to force them away. Easy shotgun blast on these Banshees, and they just need to retreat, yeah, because they're just going to bleed models. They can't actually achieve anything right now. So the Farseer needs to stay the heck back, regroup with her troops, and then attack again. Probably a pretty unnecessary old reliable there. I would have kept it to deal with this. Perhaps the smoke grenade here could be very good defensively for all these guys to protect against the Shuriken, but now he's not going to have the energy for that. Lord General rotating over, likely going to give a medic kit to the Cadishans. Note that the Cadishans haven't lost any models yet in spite of being so low on HP. It's one of the things that the Cadishan Devils are fantastic for. Going to use their medkit there, but unless there's a smoke, they need to get out of here. I don't know. Yeah, there is a smoke, but they're already suppressed, so the smoke doesn't break suppression or make you immune to suppression. It just stops you from being suppressed if you're in it already and not suppressed. So we're going to get the Banshee Exarch straight away for the Howling Banshees. This much makes sense. You know, you get the 50% range damage resistance when you use Fleet of Foot if you've got the Exarch, so that makes the Banshees just, you know, tremendously more useful in the matchup for a relatively cheap upgrade. And I like that he went for the aspect of strength. I actually think Warp Spiders in this case would be quite good, because it will give you a counter to Chimera with the Haywire Grenade into the aspect of strength Banshees. You could even go for the Singing Spear on the Farseer as well, and that should be sufficient really to deal with the Chimera. There's only one anti-melee unit right now in the Cadishan Devils. I guess there is a Stomp too, but you know, if you've got double fully upgraded Guardians, you can put a lot of pressure onto the Sentinel. Instead, it's going to be a Falcon, but I find this so scary to go for a Falcon when the Sentinel with a missile launcher can kill it in 5 shots, and that's with no rear armor. That's very scary to me. I wouldn't risk that, to be honest. If he managed to kill the Sentinel first, like I said earlier, then I feel like the Falcon becomes justified, but not prior. Now there's going to be the Ogryns coming out, and I suppose the Falcon counters the Ogryns better than Warp Spiders would. Warp Spiders would not do much to Ogryns at all, since Warp Spiders are purely piercing DPS, but the Warp Spiders would facilitate a really easy kill on the Sentinel with a Haywire Grenade into the Banshees and the double Guardians, and you've got Guide from the Farseer and all this, and then you can go for the Falcon afterwards, and then Rangers. Oh, just catches the Guardians there. They really needed to fleet if they wanted to stay in play, or go down here instead and then around. But we've got a guided shuriken trying to suppress these guardsmen. It does, but they're at max range, so it's not really super effective. And the Banshees actually get caught here without full HP against the Ogrins. So not really a good position for them. They'll trade cost effectively into the Ogrins, but they're going to need support because of all the CC potential here from the IG. So if the Ogrins save their use your head ability, which they should, for melee fights against the Banshees, then the Ogrins will actually win pretty handily. But still, the Ogrins cost so much more to reinforce that it's relatively cost effective as a trade for the Banshees. But then when you start adding medic kits from the General, you start adding shotgun blasts from the Kadashans or a Stomp, well, at that point, it's going to be dramatically in favour of the Ogrins, and the Banshees really can't engage. This is a scary thing. Look at this. That was a nice grenade on the Kadashans there. Some good bleed, but check out the pressure on the Falcon here, purely from a Sentinel with its missile launcher. We do have the melter guns on the Lord General, which will contribute something as well, but they're not too scary because they're very short-range weaponry. They shouldn't really be getting within range of a Falcon. Falcon needs to be careful. The Ogrins are close. They've got heavy melee as well. And of course, the Sentinel right now should be pushing up with its crack missiles equipped. It's not going to kill the Falcon in one more hit. If it did, then it'd be worth going into base to get that kill. This is not worth it though. It's firing at the turret instead. Yeah. Oh, this Falcon is not putting on the pressure you need. You've got to remember, this is even more expensive than any other vehicle, any other tier 2 vehicular transport, because it has AV potential, unlike other factions' vehicles. But it doesn't get any more durability. And the anti-infantry DPS isn't particularly higher either. What is he doing? He needs to focus. The Sentinel. Jesus, man. Gotta really watch this HP because it's only 100 HP or lower, and it's gonna die to that missile. The other thing you've got to be careful when you fight the Lord General is he can call in those heavy turrets. So let's say the Falcon's committing to a fight here, and we've got a Guardsman squad running down here or a Kadashan to get line of sight. He can plant a heavy turret here, and then it completely screws you if you try and back off either of these directions. Because that thing's going to hit you in the rear armor and do, what, like 250 damage or something outrageous. I really, really don't like going for the Falcon when the Sentinel's still alive. The Wraithlord has so much more durability, it's literally double the HP of the goddamn Falcon. And it can still put on pressure to the Sentinel if you just give it the Shuriken shoulder-mounted thing. I don't know, what's it called? Is it a Shuriken cannon as opposed to a catapult on the Guardians? I think it's a cannon, just like the setup team, shoulder-mounted Shuriken cannon. Okay, this is weird play from the Lord General. Highly optimistic, just charges the Falcon, but of course the Banshees are nearby to prevent him from finishing that off. Oh, and he gets the Sentinel. Very cocky from Boogy. He was actually too focused on the Lord General there, trying to kill the Shuriken with frag missiles. Oh, wow. And now he completely whiffs his old reliable, overshooting it and doesn't get the knockback and gets suppressed. Okay, that's not good. I assume that this Ogrin purchase is a Overwatch mistake. Pretty sure you don't want double Ogrins when there's a Falcon on the field and you just lost your Sentinel, so you don't have no proper AV. Unironically, this could be an interesting time to get Dark Reapers. Yes! Yes! This could actually be a good time to get Dark Reapers, which is so exceptionally rare. Now, Fire Dragons would output actually more DPS against Ogrins, but Fire Dragons are really short range. Dark Reapers can control the Ogrins because they've got that pinning fire to suppress them. Ogrins are not immune to suppression, and they're way longer range, especially when combined with Guide. Oh my god! Why did he keep the Shuriken in for so long? Oh, then he messes up the grenade and only hits one of the models of the Ogrins too. Yeah, this is a bit of a sloppy one, folks. Alright, well, the Banshees are now in melee with these Ogrins, who are quite beaten up from all the fighting. We've got Dark Reapers contributing some pew-pew, not poo-poo, pew-pew. There's a lot of DPS coming onto the Banshees, but that, my friends, is an absolutely beautiful grab field there from the Farseer. Boogy needs to really keep an eye on that Farseer and explosive shot her if he's going to be blobbing like this. Don't even explosive shot the Banshees. She's the priority, because if she can do that and shut down 4 of your ranged units, oof, you're in a bad way. But a good engagement overall for Scrap Goblin there. I'm not really sure what these Ogrins were doing the whole time. It feels like he really needed them in the fight. This is obviously a horrendous engagement with the Banshees and the Reapers there. Reapers, if you don't know, they do Inferno damage, which means that they do full damage to all targets that are infantry. They don't really do any vehicle damage, but they ignore the super heavy infantry armor of the Ogrins, whereas... wow, what do piercing damage do to super heavy infantry? Is it like 20% or something? Super low. Almost negligible. I'm not sure what the DPS difference is between Guardians and Reapers. It's probably pretty similar DPS, but the Reapers have way longer range. But then with the different damage types, it essentially means that Reapers are outputting 5 times the damage of Guardians against the Ogrins. The loss of the Shuriken's kind of huge here, because the Ogrins can just charge through like this, which, you know, if you had a Shuriken that wouldn't be the case, and then the Reapers would be able to output a lot more damage. Plus, you know, you'd easily be able to combo the grenades and stuff. Oh, a bit of a misplay there. The Farseer should definitely have been levitating the Ogrins. And now there's a risk that Scrap Goblin's going to miss-micro his Falcon and show the rear armor. Ooh. He did, but it rotated extremely fast. Holy shit, what is the rotation rate on that Falcon? My god. So yeah, Scrap Goblin's going to need to replace the Shuriken. Clearly the Ogrin's just charging him down like we just seen at that gen farm is not something that he wants. The Banshees can delay for a little bit with their Scream, but the Lord General could go for the anti-suppression armor as well. If he goes for the anti-suppression armor, which he probably should, then he is missing out on the damage resistance armor. Right now, I guess the damage resistance and anti-knockback armor would be better, but then it leaves you vulnerable to the Shuriken. But it seems that Scrap Goblin doesn't want the Shuriken right now for some reason. Boogy's using the line of sight blockers really well here. And you see how... I'm going to say the Ogrins don't really counter the Falcon because the Falcon's too quick, but... the Falcon... You're just zoning it out of the Ogrins because it doesn't really do a lot of damage to the Ogrins. You know, you've got the Medical Sergeant here, could heal up the Ogrins a bit. And since he is going for double Ogrins plus Kadashins, honestly, you should really have the Vox Operator as well. And then you can reinforce them all for pretty cheap. Yeah, you see that healing. An Autarch? Really? Oh, I don't know about that. Oh wow, he just thrown his Falcon. He drove it into Ogrins. What's he doing? Drove it into Ogrins and a Meltagun Lord General. Oh my god. Scrap Goblin throwing really hard here. He had such a dominant tier 1 as well, but I don't know what's going on. I think he must be feeling the pressure in tier 2, not really sure what he should be doing because he's making macro mistakes that definitely were not happening in tier 1. Now the Autarch needs to be super careful here when she's not fighting alongside the Banshees. All 3 of these, yeah, should have a good scrap against the Ogrins for sure. Wow, slaying one of them Ogrins very quickly. Now if you keep the Autarch with her Executioner Spear near to the Banshees and you keep buffing the Banshees with the jump, which gives that heal, speed and damage boost, that could be pretty nice, but you still don't want to fight 2 Ogrins, and I would be definitely getting the knockback, immunity and damage resistance armor on the Lord General. That would support the Ogrins beautifully. Stop the Banshees from being able to special them. Stop the jump from the knockback, from the attack. I don't think it stops graph field, because I think it only stops weapon knockback, but I'm not sure. This is ability knockback, so it will even lift up Terminators and the like. But this is kind of the problem. Look at the sheer amount of HP here with all these guardsmen. The Banshees just can't chew through it quick enough. They're good against the Ogrins because of the power melee, but this is not their ideal target. And just imagine if Kadishans and Ogrins were there as well. Holy shit, the Banshees would melt. And that's why you need the Shurikens to control the IG army.
Adding warp generator.
I think undoubtedly the Falcon was the major mistake here for Scrap Goblin. All of its pressure was just totally negated by the Sentinel. That is the power of Sentinel. Oh wow. Now he loses his Guardians as well because he didn't notice the double Ogrins in retreat path. Ogrins absolutely brutalizing the Eldar in melee here. Now there is a Webway Gate up top. The Banshees should be... Oh, and they're not using the Webway Gate. They're coming to the mid. Oh, I don't like this. They've not got an Exarch. They're going to get wrecked by these Ogrins. Even with the support of these single entities. And now the Autarch retreats through them as well. Jesus Christ, man. You see the Ogrin Ripper Guns are nothing to be scoffed at. They do about the same damage as Tactical Space Marine Bolters. Obviously with a lot shorter range, but 100% fire on the move. So, I don't know. Okay, now, yeah, Scrap Goblin is completely losing it. He's using his left field here. And this whole time, the Dark Reapers should have been shooting those Ogrins, but they weren't. Now there's a heavy turret in the mid too. And Scrap Goblin's only AV would be the Howling Banshee Exarch, so... I don't know, guys. I think Scrap Goblin might be a little bit screwed. Boogy's only on 18 VPs, though, so this is a VP kind of game right now. Kadishan's doing a good job down bot. They've IED'd that up. They can protect that pretty effectively against anything that comes their way. They're level 4. They'll be able to solo anything. Speedy Autarch gonna give it a go. It's not gonna waste the IED on that. Is he going into melee? Right, I was gonna say. Strange. You know, Farseer sacrifices herself trying to get a Psychic Storm off. I mean, she gets it off, and that's going to buy time for the Banshees, but she didn't force them off. Only one Commissar here. A bit strange to have one Guardsman and one Commissar, but sure. I guess. Medical kit. Fully healed these guys since they didn't actually lose any models. They just took AoE damage. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is pretty much a done deal. Probably just get like a heavy weapons team or something. Start dropping down Guardsman Las turrets as well. That could be effective. This is Boogy's flying so much. Shit, you could go for a Manticore just to deny caps for a little bit. That was nicely dealt with there. The Autarch tanking them with a Force Shield. Whilst the Dark Reapers pew-pew. They'll be in base healing for a little bit, but there's no time. There's no time for Scrap Goblin. It's like now or never. Kadishan Devil has been mismacroed by Boogy. He didn't realise the Warp Spiders were down here. They infiltrate by default, but that means when they're infiltrated, they won't automatically attack. So, I don't know. Yeah, there's no time. Oh! Wait. Yeah, no, it's over. There's nothing capping the mid. Scrap Goblin's going to lose. Ah, it was a valiant effort. It's just a shame because he dominated tier 1 so well. And then, I don't know, it completely fell apart. But what can you do? What can you do, folks? That is the game sometimes. I can't believe double Ogrins worked out so well. Boogy, please, next time, grab the Vox Operator to heal your reinforcing, to reinforce your killed Ogrins for cheaper. To be fair, I'm not sure he even needed to in this game. I don't think he actually lost that many Ogrin models. But also, more importantly, I think get one of the armors. In this case, because Scrap Goblin for whatever reason didn't go for suppression, which I think he really needed to control the Ogrins, in which case you'd counter it with the anti-suppression armor. But in this case, the damage reduction plus knockback immunity armor would have been fantastic. But there you go, folks. That was a little bit of IG versus Eldar. Hope you did enjoy that one. Driller's Forge. Torpid signing out.